Uncle Geoff, what's popping?
Fellas, people. Hey everybody. Not. I ain't trying to come in here and start no fights.
But
Uh,
you will.
Inevitably, I think
But
we
you
should start. How do I sound? I'm good. Everybody hear me? Good.
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
I think we should start simply by answering the sisters' questions. Number one, let's answer the question of what is it that we expect you to adopt. Uh, I, I for one, am married to a sister from here. I love black women. Uh, all my children, black wives. That's always love y'all. Um, but what I think you're missing is let's just go with one place, Brazil. Uh, I've been there a number of times, and besides the fact that they set the eights and below adrift with provisions in boats on Sundays, uh, besides the fact that these women are absolutely beautiful, they are you. More of them were dropped off from Africa there than here. What Brazilian women and Dominican women and Portuguese women, these are the women that I have experienced, what they have over Black American women is one dirty four-letter word. They're nice. They're just nice. I know janitor. I know, I won't lie. I know a bus driver that's married to a cardiothoracic female surgeon, and he's the man of his house because fine is a given there. Everybody's fine. So Brazilian men, let's be crystal clear about Brazilian men giving you their trash. That's a fallacy. Dominican men giving you their trash, another fallacy. These are fallacies that are perpetuated by not one man that I know. And I know men who own businesses there. I know dudes that ain't no bums that came from there. Uh, 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 these is real dudes doing real stuff over there. What I think the black woman has to come to grip with here is that there isn't one complaint, one negative thing. And if you could, sisters, is there a negative thing you can say about black men that helps you? I've never heard one thing you can say that helps you, because I don't think you understand this. This isn't our problem. This is your problem. You outnumber us, including the ones you can't stand, by 2 million. That means that and now let's cut out the fat dudes you don't want, the ugly dudes you don't want, the shiftless dudes you shouldn't want, the violent ones right with you. This puts your numbers at about 16-1. So this is not musical chairs of 16 around 15 chairs. This is, if you want monogamy, 15 of you around one chair to sit on the lap of the man in it and sentence the other 14 sisters to a life of celibacy unless they date out of their race. Those are the numbers that face you. So let's pretend my numbers are wrong. Please tell me what negative thing that you can say about black men and their taste, black men in leaving the country, black men in the way they treat you, black men in the way they won't respect you, any subject that you can say something negative about us that helps you in any way.
Mr. Geoff, you said you married a black woman, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And she's from the United States?
Yes. She's
So
from New
what you
Jersey.
talking about? Are you giving us advice on how we should be like other cultures, or what are you saying?
I'm telling you that you could take these cues from other cultures. Number
I don't
one,
want to take cues from the other cultures. I want to take cues from your wife. Since your wife got a black man, how
Okay.
did she
Okay.
get you as a wife? I mean,
okay,
as a
hold
husband.
on. Okay, all right, sis.
Because why
Okay,
would I go to another
okay,
culture? So
okay.
again,
Let me answer that. Let me answer that.
hold on, because I want you all to understand what happens here, and this is why we don't
Okay.
want to hear what y'all talking about sometimes. You are married to a African American black woman
Yes.
who I'm sure is my elder, and I can take advice from her no different than I can take advice from my mother, my aunt, my grandmothers who were married. So why would I take advice from somebody from another culture.
Okay.
Is she black?
That's letter A. Women from other cultures are outside of the 400-year social experiment, the longest one in human history. That is the one that we are in, where unless and until Black women are willing to acknowledge that we have been systematically programmed to be obstinate to one another and understand that and approach that as me and my wife do, and she'll be here in a few minutes. Matter of fact, yeah, this is a good one. I sit right here. We understand with one another that I was taught subconsciously that she was disposable, and she was taught unconsciously that I was untrustworthy. So we deal with each other subconsciously from that place because we have a relationship between us that is far more important than us always being right. She understands. I'm gonna answer. I think I'm gonna answer this for you. She understands, and these are the cues I believe she'll tell you, is that her word is first, but my word is final. She understands.
Again, that's a lesson that we learn from our elders, not from somebody from a different culture.
Well, here's the cultural breakdown, sis, is that no one's teaching it right now. Everybody agrees that we need Big Mama, but don't nobody want her job. Say the word Big Mama to a woman over 50 and see, don't you have a problem? Don't nobody want Big Mama's job. You're exactly right. There is a woman who's supposed to teach that job, but she is asleep at the wheel. She at the club. Big Mama at the club now. I need somebody to argue that. Instead of yelling bitch on blow the whistle, she should be saying Sam I am to her grandkids. But that's not what she's doing. That's a fact. So that class is left empty.
Ro, let me ask you a question. Where did you learn to treat a man or how to handle a family and anything in that nature? Where did you learn that from?
I learned it from my single father, who was a single father in the United States Air Force of 4 children. Okay, so I'm a little different, but at the same time, the women, my grandparents were married until they passed away. If they had a spouse that passed away, they may have gotten remarried on my maternal side. But again, I've said this before, it is about the environment that you're raised in. I don't have to learn anything from another culture because the people I was raised under taught me how to move in a certain way and how to manage myself and how to manage myself in relationships. The only difference was I had a learning curve was because I was raised by a single man who taught me how to be self-sufficient and not necessarily how to be a wife. So there was a learning curve with me. But again, it is about the environment that you're raised in. When I may have cracked jokes about those women raised in those trailer parks, but for the most part, you're talking about an Amber Heard that was raised in a country town in Texas. We don't know in her environment. To me, she may have been raised in an environment where her mom fought her boyfriends or didn't have a husband. So again, with the whole concept of I have to step outside of my culture and go to another culture to figure out how I should be acting is ridiculous. When we have women in our, it is ridiculous.
Let me interject. So for Black people in general, because you're not the only Black woman and that suffers from what you suffer from or went through what you went through, do you think the Black community in 2023 is a good example to learn from as far as marriage, being a feminine man, being a feminine, it is a good example for being a feminine man, but being a masculine man and being a feminine woman? Do you think the Black community is that example?
I do not think these younger generations are not. So I'm not part of the younger generation.
And so we are a country that's experiencing explosive immigration. All right, so you don't think there's nothing we can learn from these other cultures that are coming into our country?
I didn't say there was nothing I couldn't learn. It's not going to be the basis in which I move in a way where I can learn that learning curve. That learning curve is going to be learned from my mother, who's been successfully married to a Latino man for about 20 years. So my learning curve is going to be from my grandmother who stood there while my grandfather had children out of wedlock. My learning curve is going to be from my aunts who are married where their husbands have passed away or had some type of situation that occurred where their husband is not there and they had to remarry. So those are my learning curves. I don't need to learn that stuff from somebody in a different culture.
I got a
But do you
question.
think the times has changed to where those the regulations that happened prior to don't work in this time? That you have
I
to learn what's going on in a now, and you have to adjust yourself.
You do, but that's not going to be learned from somebody in a different culture. These
Yeah.
children are not going to sit up
All right.
and, unless they marry into it, they're not going to say the first thing I need to do is go and learn how to be a wife from somebody that's not part of the
All
environment.
right. Let's go ahead. What's your question, Uncle Geoff?
Sister Rowe, this is a question directly to you. Do you think that your energy radiates peace?
No, it don't have to
Okay.
at this point.
Okay. Well, then that and I'll tell you why I asked that. Because over a certain age, in a relationship, I like to believe that a woman is a peacemaker. The man is the peacekeeper. If you find a man, a black man, over the age of 45, that is at home in a dice game or the Oval Office, that does not need your car or your money or your help, that can conjugate a verb, looks decent in a suit, that dude right there has made his own peace. He needs you now to amplify his peace. And it's the first thing he's looking for is a woman who radiates peace. If you can't amplify, what do you say to being able to amplify a man's peace?
So I am not in this moment of speaking on this panel. It's not to amplify peace. We've had black men on here throw us underneath the bus.
All of you?
Oh yeah, twice. And the only one that stood up for his race of women was Savage. He stayed the mark. The rest of them made a decision to throw us under the bus multiple times in this conversation where we were talking about divesting and verifying that women from different races do the same things that we are accused of doing majority of the time. And they all said, well, it's not about that. It's about what black women do. We're addressing black women. And nobody seemed to defend us but him.
Okay.
Hold on. I said y'all all were crazy. Hold on. I agree with y'all all crazy.
Look here.
You said we crazy, but you said, but there was a but. There was a but.
No, there was no but. Is y'all all crazy?
In the sense of asking us the question, what can we do to learn from another culture? That is throwing us under the bus as if there is something wrong with us.
You don't think? Okay, hold on. So is this to say that you think that the American black female disposition toward the black male is peerless and is the only thing that is left unscathed from 4 centuries of chattel slavery? That's the only thing. Our finances, our religion, our speech, our standing in society. All of these things have been affected, with the exception of the way the black woman relates to the black man, and it is the mirror image of every woman around the planet. So there's nothing for you to learn. This is what it is. I can't tell you what it is. I'm just going to tell you what it looked like, and it looks like you're telling me.
All right, hold on. True Impact with the $10. Black women love black men. Black women don't. Go ahead, love.
Excoriate.
I don't even know that word. Excoriate black men in public.
Black men in public.
Be nasty, rude to excoriate.
Go, bro. You black men are not copying women
who belong to other men unless it's trash. Any examples?
That's crazy.
Let me read a few more. Unpopular truth with the $5.
Black men? Y'all love
you
black
already
men?
did that
This
one.
is
Right. You did that one already. Well, I did it. Actually, I laughed at it when I did it. I did that.
All right, I'm Papa Shoot with the $5. This is love strategy, fellas. Don't let her deflect.
There you
Sway
go. That's
producing
two
with
times.
the two. Yeah, y'all gotta. Sway producing with the $2. LOL. He said, "Be nice." That was when Uncle Geoff said that initially. To appreciate. Sway producing with the $5. Bro, you niggas are the problem. Pot that called the kettle black. You guys lived in dysfunction and expect your kids to have a logical mind. Caesar's Palace with the $5. Mike, you just told black women how severe it is out here for black women, and they still refuse to take it seriously. Talk, not cry later. Black women, salute Uncle Geoff. I kind of wanted to answer to your question. That question that you asked initially.
Yeah.
The end where it says, if you say negative things about black men, what are the benefits? Something like that you said.
Oh yeah. There are. I haven't heard it. If the sisters could tell me of a negative comment, a negative critique of black men that helps you, as in when we tell you that something that we have an issue, we don't get this back. Wow, I didn't see it that way. What can we do from this end to change it? I really don't hear that. I usually hear black men do it too. Oh yeah, what about deflection to something? I wouldn't do this if. These are generally the things I hear. So I'm trying to find out if there is a negative critique that will move your problem forward. Because again, we don't have one. We really don't.
So I'll answer that for you.
Sure.
I have a kind of strong opinion about it. So nothing to answer, and I think that's the point you're trying to make, is that there's no, it's doing more harm than good, right? But also to kind of negate your point, there are women, i.e. me, who want to understand, because I did not, unlike Ro, I didn't come up in a household where my dad was there. So I don't have that example, but I also have been around positive role models in my life. But I'm still missing the mark as a single woman with no kids, unmarried. And I genuinely want to know, what is it that men are not only looking for? I mean, I know feminism and soft and all that other stuff, but what is it that you're finding in these women that you aren't finding in black women?
Oh shit. Well,
I'll take it. I'm trying.
I tried to say it when listen, I've said it numerous times, and as somebody who's traveled extensively, was born into a different culture, raised in that culture, intermingles with all cultures, including Indian people, Chinese people, all that type of stuff. I will say what it is this whole independent movement, trying to make yourself independent of men, speaks volumes. And what it does is it furthers divides us, and what we immediately start looking for in other types of women, or men do, is women who value men enough to want to, and what it is that a man starts thinking about his legacy, he's going to start thinking about the behavior of women, because you are the first teacher of children. There's no way I'm gonna let a woman who's like screaming from the rooftops, I'm independent, be the mother of my daughter. There's no way. You see what I'm saying? And the things that y'all allow to come out of your mouth. And yes, like Uncle Geoff said, it's more serious for you. Your situation is more dire than the men.
I have a quick question, because Mike, you said something like, "Stop screaming, you're independent." Yeah. And I've heard men complain that about black women, we're too clingy. So juxtapose and reconcile that argument for me, please. Well, how do you not be clingy and not independent?
We can. So those two things aren't even in the same.
Well, help me. Well, please, I'm asking a question. Don't be condescending. Please answer.
I'm not being condescending. The opposite of independent is dependent. Clingy isn't. Clingy is not.
Those don't apply.
I want to know what. Okay. For example,
no, he's been.
Let me say something, because maybe men think clingy is wrong. So if I'm dependent upon you as my man,
Yeah.
or I want to be around you all the time and I want to get to know you. Some men can deem that as clingy. So maybe our definition of clingy is different, but when we hear, oh my gosh, you're too clingy, I hear, oh, because men do expositions. They say you're too clingy, and I'm like, oh, that means back off. That
No,
means he wants to be a little
Okay.
bit more independent.
That's easy to clean up.
Well, I'm thinking when they're
Let's
saying
do it. Well,
when he's speaking about independence, he's talking about probably from the financial aspect and just how we conduct ourselves on a day to day. That clingy part is just the emotional side. I don't think that
Yeah.
you're looking at independence. In that
Savage,
way.
give it a shot. Savage, you wanted to answer that, and I want to hear Uncle Jeff's answer. Let's make our answers.
Quit.
Get it popping. Everybody can get their shit off.
Well, what I wanted to address is when I got my son's mom pregnant, who was black, I asked her to marry me, and she told me that was too much of a commitment. So she didn't want to be married. When it came to dating women, a lot of women today don't really want men. They don't need men, they want men. So like my grandma worked and she cooked dinner every night. Like a woman being happy to see you when you come home, like these things are men care about these little things. Like we care very much. Like if I come home from work and there's a hot plate, that means more to me than you saying, "Hey, I love you." So like a lot of the issue with men these days with women is women don't do those little things. Like you can see it on the internet a lot about the bare minimum. Like there's a thing on TikTok now where a woman said, "I'm not going to thank my man for taking the trash out because that's the bare minimum. You're supposed to do it." So for men don't feel appreciated when women are independent or say they don't need us.
I agree with that. Also, for me, I mean, my dad wasn't consistent in my life, but I had my uncles and stuff that I was able to help me through a lot of the stuff and make better decisions and stuff like that. I would say for me, I don't listen to women. And I would advise other women to stop listening to women. If you are looking for a man or listening to a woman is not your marketplace. Your marketplace is a man. So you should be listening to what he wants because that's who you want to be in a relationship with. Listening to the bunch of women tell you, oh, you don't need him, or he this, or he that. It's just nonsense. A lot of women are their whole fake sisterhood stuff is nonsense. Women needs to listen to men, period. And we need to quit making excuses for these women that are out here ratchet, doing all type of disrespectful stuff, being just out of character, out of order, instead of trying to like make excuses for them.
So quick question.
I'm a woman. Let me just finish. If I'm a woman and I know I'm not like that woman that's out there being ratchet, I know how to differentiate the difference between her and me. So when a man say, "Oh, a woman that's out there ratchet doing this," I know he's not talking to me because I'm not doing those things. So I know the difference. I'm not going to be triggered because he said that.
That's what's up.
Question,
real quick for Glay. So Glay, you agree with a lot of what the men say, right? And are you single right now?
Yes.
Do you want to be in a relationship?
Yes.
So if you are basically the idealized walking, talking woman that men want, because you agree, a lot of what they're saying, and you understand the men speak, better than other women. Why do you feel that you're single then?
I mean, I would say, like I said before, I just got out of a 13 plus year relationship. So for me, I feel like as a woman, there's things that I did in that relationship that I actually need to address so that I can know not to repeat them in the relationship that I get in. So like, it's not about just giving myself, because like there have been men that are approaching me and want to be in a relationship, but I feel like in order for me not to repeat some of the bad things that I did in that relationship, I need to change those things in me first. So I need to recognize those things and I need to work on those things before I can be ready to be in a relationship with somebody.
So are you on the market right now, or you took yourself off the market?
I mean, I wouldn't say pretty much because, like, I mean, the guys that want to date me, I just tell them that, I just got out of a relationship. I need to work on those things instead of just jumping in another relationship because you tend to repeat the
Yeah,
same thing.
okay. So how long
Yeah,
have you been how long have you been out of that relationship? The last one, that 13-year plus.
I would say about maybe 3 months or something.
They freshly ended.
Yes.
My
Okay.
question
What do
was
you
this. Oh, I'm sorry.
Question.
I'm sorry. I had a question with what she just said because she was saying 13 years. Were you 13 years as boyfriend and girlfriend and not husband and wife?
Yes.
Wow.
And that was not that. I always say to people, it wasn't his fault because as a person or individual, you're supposed to realize that when you get into a relationship, you need to talk about these things instead of being in a relationship and assuming that, oh, just because we're together, we're going to end up getting married anyway. We're going to settle down. We're going to be together forever. You need to have these discussions so that you don't repeat that. So that was the mistake I made. I didn't talk about these things. I just assumed it was going to happen because we were together. And that was what the end result was going to be instead of me presenting it and saying, okay, if we need to know where we're going, like, and this and this and this. So that's why I don't put the responsibility on him. I take the responsibility because I chose that man, to be honest. So I cannot come and be bad mouthing him and saying all these things about him when I'm the one that chose them in the first place.
Well, no, I totally agree with that part. That's the accountability piece. Like you're owning something. I've done
Yeah,
the same thing. You have
yeah,
to own that. Yeah. But he only did what you allowed. So
exactly. So
I gotta get Uncle Jeff's commentary. Let me just read these few super chats. Unpopular truth with the $2. Better respect and attitudes. I guess he's saying that's what's needed. To with the $5. Tough pill to swallow, and it's never been perfect. But the louder women voices got, the more confused communities got. I gotta assess that. That's heavy. Got here late, but salute to the panel. But great panel.
Shit like that. Shit like that.
Indeed, my brother. I appreciate you. See this palace with the $2. Tay, if you want a black man, stop talking to black women and be nice.
Wow.
I'm very nice, sir.
Sway producer with the $2. Weight, attitude, willing to change. Unpopular truth with the $2. Another strategy for love. Make it personal. Go ahead, Uncle Jeff.
Hey, wow, Sister
You
Gwen.
know what? I have a different perspective on this whole thing. Oh, my bad, man. My bad, man.
Uncle Jeff, go ahead.
Man, the two sexiest words in the English language are "my bad," and your level of accountability is exemplary. I say the same thing all the time, that the thing, there's a triangle offense being run on black women's happiness. It is they mama, the media, and they manless friends that they listen to, as opposed to men that they absolutely respect that don't want none. Men that don't want to get in your pants. But generally what you will find is that, and these are the complaints I hear, is that oftentimes a woman doesn't want to hear your opinion. She wants to hear her opinion in your voice. And this pattern of thinking, and this is what I tell brothers, and I'm trying to tell sisters, the universe listens to you. When you say, I don't need a man, universe says, as you wish. I can do bad all by myself, as you wish. All these men out here ain't, as you wish. And it's just so expensive for you. It's expensive. This energy, this oh yeah, what about these the brothers that you focus on that we're not discussing? We're discussing the brothers you want, not the ones you don't. Those, we don't like them either, by the way. Brothers that got their shit together can't stand the same horrible dudes you hate. We cannot. Let's not focus on them. Let's focus on the ones you want and what they want from you. They actually want something from you, and you're going to have to actually give it to get one of these dudes, because they're not in your possession. And I just don't understand what they don't see about this. You're basically trying to rob a bank and hold hostages, but you're standing in an empty bank. There's no money in it. There's no hostages in it. There's just you with a gun and your demands. And there's absolutely, at this point, no reason to deal with. And I'll say this and get out of the way. I think the biggest thing that bothers us is that the women who we are not talking about circle the wagons around the ones we are. Nobody defends the women we are not talking about. I mean, the women we are talking about, like the ones we are not. We don't, as men, we check the dudes that run tight. We don't have no horrible dudes that beat their women that we know about, that don't take care of their kids that we know about, that's out here slinging poison that we know about. If we know about that, bro, you done. Every crew of women I know has a substandard broad they run with, so they can go, at least I'm not Tracy. They don't check her about what she don't tell her kids. Every sister I know knows a sister that is not doing right by a baby father she just mad at. Somebody know her, and nobody checks her. Not with skirts, not that we see, not that we openly see. We don't ever hear this. Hey, Tony, this is Tracy, Tina, and Marsha. We Kathy, real good friends, and she doing you wrong with these kids. And we are talking to her, bruh, because we trying to fix this for you. I've never heard a brother say that any sisters do this. And this is what it's going to take, because what you don't seem to understand is that very soon it's going to be these kind of funerals in the next 5 to 10 years with 3 people in attendance. The minister saying the rights, the dude on the bulldozer, and the sister in the box. That's it. No one any longer has to deal with 80s and 90s. This is not where we at. We here now, and we're in dire times. So you can take this or not. You don't actually have to take this. You can do it your way. Maybe your way is working, but we want you, but these are the things we want. And these are the things you're going to have to give us, or else.